Hello, this is, as I pick my ear, this is Dr. Jason Munsell. I might look really hot and sweaty, as if I just finished running my daily 3 miles, but that's in fact not the case. I'm just ridiculously excited about this last assignment that I'm going to explain to you. It looks like also that at least one of the other videos that I've done has been finally uploaded to YouTube, and thus our KC shell, and so hopefully you'll be able to see this. This is going to be really brief because this is this video, which I believe is the 5th video for our very first day, is all about the biggest assignment of the semester, or our 4 weeks together, and that is about the the paper, the big critical essay. What I say here in the syllabus, and you can read along, and I'll try to explain this a little bit more after I sort of go through the specifics. 10 pages. 10. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but for the most part, 10. 12-point font, type, double space, no funky font, 1-inch margins on all sides, ought to be in English, por favor. Parenthetical documentation if you cite sources, and you probably should. I'm not really asking for a big literature review or anything like that, but very likely you'll be citing from our textbook, which means that you need to cite correctly, both parenthetically and have a works cited page, all in MLA or MLA, which is the Modern Love Association, also known as the Modern Language Association. Now, the topic of your paper will be a particular site of tourism, tourist site here in South Carolina or elsewhere. It doesn't have to be in South Carolina. And one of the things I say in the syllabus is that you know, the idea of text is fluid here. It can be a real physical place that you go to and you study, or it can be an online or virtual tour of a particular place, or it can be both and how you sort of create the text and the particular things that you want to look at in your paper or analyze in your paper is really sort of up to you, so long as it is a site of public memory, as we talk about it in class. So with that in mind, again, I'm not asking for a long research paper that'd be like a 25-page paper, and I'm not really asking for you to create some sort of vast literature review or anything like that. Really, this is going to be done through the old diet method that I like to employ every once in a while, that I learned through some of my experiences at LSU. And so basically it's going to be organized through that template, D-I-E-T, or diet. D is where you will describe your text. So for instance, let's say you were studying the African American monument at the State House grounds. That first part of the paper would deeply and thickly and richly describe that monument. And the second part of the I is interpretation, and that's where you would interpret that memorial or that monument as something about that is rhetorical. What are the messages that are being conveyed about rhetoric, about place, about memory, about public memory? What does it say? What does it argue? Etc., etc. And also, one of the things that I'm encouraging you to do is to use some of the analytical templates or the analytical perspectives that we will glean through the readings, not necessarily just in the introductory chapter or the introduction, but the subsequent chapters that we will read. So I is your interpretation of the meaning, the messages that are being conveyed by this particular text. The next bit in your paper is going to be the E, and that is evaluating And one of the things that you will learn when you read that first introduction is that the introduction, there's not multiple introductions, that that rhetoric is consequential. So you evaluate the consequences of how you are interpreting the messages. Is it good or is it bad? Is it partisan? That is it partial? Does it say things? Does it in certain ways that you think are problematic? Should it be saying something different? Does it leave things out? So sort of evaluate the consequences of that. And also, if you wanted to think in terms of affect and think about your own sort of emotional reaction to it, or maybe even if you wanted to interview folks who were there, if you go physically, or if you want to look at comments that you might find on the web, you can sort of look at that as well as part of the text, but also as part of the evaluation. And then the T. The last bit of your paper is theorization, and that's when you want to tie it back, because in this case the African American Monument becomes a case study for helping us to better understand rhetoric, place, memory, and places of public memory. So tie it back to the introductory chapter on our textbook, and what did your case study help us to learn, or how does it continue the conversation about us trying to better understand rhetoric, place, memory, and places of public memory. So that's generally the paper. One thing that I'm asking you to do is to email me a rough draft, and you can see that in the schedule. And you can email me multiple rough drafts throughout the course of our 4 weeks. It is due in 4 weeks, so basically you have 4 weeks to write a 10-page paper, which you could write a 10-page paper in 4 minutes. If you wrote very, very quickly and you said this monument was very, 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 very cool. But in any case, that's generally the paper, and I'm happy to help in any way. Thank you.